Your turn, Yogi boy.
What is up, guys? This is AlintheaYoh coming at you today with a Drytron deck profile. Now, this is something that I've never done on my channel. Drytrons are something that, let's say, I very much missed the boat in regards to the popularity and the peak of their, power, let's say, with Herald of Ultimateness, with Eva, and also with the little level 2 fairies like orange, purple, and green. But with the new set of info, there has been some support that's come out. And quite honestly, while I've been in the shadows for a number of, years essentially, but in more recent months, I picked up Drytron because it's a deck that obviously fits with what I like, what I want to do, how I like to play. It's got rituals, which is one of my favorite types of ways to play the game. And it's just something that I thought, you know what, I'll pick it up, see how I like it, and I have been enjoying it actually. Now, there are a couple of different ways to play the deck. This one is specifically how I've chosen to play it for now, but I will go over a couple of different choices and all that reasonings essentially as I go through the profile. So yeah, if you want to see more deck profiles like this, do let me know. Do hit the subscribe button and all that jazz. That's what we have to do these days for YouTube now, isn't it? So, starting us off with the rituals, we have the new dad. So basically, this is one of the brand new rituals that has come out for Drytrons in the most recent set. This is Drytron Meteonis DA Draconids, but we like to call him Dad. So basically, his effect is being 5,000 attack, 5,000 defense, makes him a bit awkward to summon because essentially you have to use 3 different Drytron materials, let's say, to summon him out, because obviously Drytrons all have 2,000 attack, means that you need to use 3 of them. Obviously, there are ways to combat that, and I'll go through that later. But his main effect, and what you're going to be using him for, is that he is you can banish a minimum of 1 monster to, one Drytron, sorry, so that you can negate a monster effect. So if a monster effect has 2,000 or less, you can banish 1. If it has 4,000 or less, you banish 2, so on and so forth. And it's twice per turn, but it's not a hard once per turn. So if you reset this, for example, with Dynamundo, you get to negate up to 4 monster effects in 1 turn. His other effect is when he's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can ritual summon 1 ritual monster that has 4,000 attack from your hand or deck. And this is why we have the original dad right here, Drytron Meteonis Draconids. We all know what this one does if you don't know. Basically, he is also a form of removal, but also just a big body. So you only need to play 1. They're super searchable. There's no reason to summon any more or to get any more. You can summon them from grave, and yeah, they're just, ultimately, it's been really nice. The other brand new card is Drytron Mewtwo. Now, I honestly think this card changes the game for Drytrons, because what it allows you to do is, well, for one thing, it's an extra name, but it's honestly a really good card for just being useful for a summon off Drytron Nova, and also just to be able to recur your materials a lot easier and better. It gives you free summons. It's just a really nice card. So if you don't know what it does, basically, if there's a Drytron card on the field, you can special it from your hand or the graveyard, but you banish it when it leaves the field. We can get around that with obviously using it as a Z material. And basically, you search 1 Drytron monster from your deck to your hand except itself, which is super, super, super good. The downside to it is that you can only ritual summon machines. Now, that obviously means that we're not playing Herald of Perfection, Herald of Ultimateness, we're not playing any of those bad boys, but I think that it's fine for the way that we want to run this specific deck, because obviously we have Dad, and that's honestly, Dad's the main one you're going to be summoning, the new Dad. So Drytron Mewtwo honestly has the best value if you summon it off Nova, in my opinion. But yeah, it's just amazing. You run it at 3, and it's one of your best starters. It's such a powerful card, in my opinion. So yeah, I think you just have to run it. Here we're coming up to some familiar lineups. If you don't know Drytrons, you know, the way that they summon themselves, the original ones, is that you tribute a Drytron or ritual monster from your hand to be able to summon it out from the hand or graveyard. Nice and easy, very simple. But the way that you run it is that your main starters are Alpha and Beta. Alpha and Zeta. These are just your standard starters. You want to see these in your opening hand as much as possible because they're just so good. Gamma is another absolute beast. Gamma, basically, when it's summoned, it special summons another Drytron from your graveyard. I forgot to say Zeta obviously grabs you your Meteonos Drytron, your ritual spell card. And then I'm playing the one Delta. Delta's basically just you can reveal a ritual or ritual spell card from your hand to draw an extra card. It's quite nice just to add some extra value. Basically just try and dig for some other combo pieces, some extra lines of play, but also just some other other non-combo pieces, that you can use to try and stun your opponent. We are playing the one Drytron Alpha. Now, this card is pretty key in this version of the deck. It allows you to search out when it's special summoned, and the good thing about it is that if you control a Drytron or Drytron monster, you special summon it from your hand, then you add one Drytron spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. So really, really strong because you have a lot of targets for it. I think you only really need one. I've only really tested one, to be honest, but I think that's what I've found is works completely fine. But I'll show you what some of the targets are in a little bit with this. So going on to the other rituals, we have Ben 10 and Natasha. Ben 10 is insane. Like, the card just gives you so much value. Just searching, giving you free advantage, absolutely incredible. You never run less than 3, you always run the maximum amount. And Natasha is an incredibly strong card that allows you to catch your opponent off guard. It really means that you can think ahead a lot more, get out some tight spots by just taking control of your opponent's monsters really, really easily. And it's not a once per turn as well to change the, to essentially change or heart them. So really nice. 2 of the Diviner of the Herald, and this is in the beautiful quarter century secret rare. Very happy that we had some nice rarities of Diviner. Not entirely sure why we had Ulti in essentially the same week, but meh, not complaining. You would probably expect me to be running Ultis. I probably should, but currently I'm quite liking these ones. It's nice to see, especially next to the Ben 10s and such. Diviner is obviously going to be sending, you'll see in the extra deck, but sending one monster mainly, which is Herald of Arclight. You can tell I've been at this for a while, right? I can't even remember my own boys. The Diviner sends the Herald of Arclight, and you can search out your another light fairy. So essentially, you're probably just going to be getting a Ben 10 from this, but this also does have a very unique bit of play. So one of the cards, and I will show you in the extra deck, one of the cards that we will be going into is this. We will be going into Ancient Fairy Dragon. And the good thing about this is that obviously you're dumping your Herald of Arclight, gains 4 levels, so this makes it level 6, or your Drytron's level 1. Nice and easy synchro synergy there. But I'll go over that in a little bit as well. And then the last monster is Vanity's Ruler. Now, Vanity's Ruler is here to help get out of some awkward situations. Drawn Lockbird is still a very painful card for this deck to go up against. It's gotten a little bit better with cards like New 2 in the sense that you can summon them out quite quickly and easily, and you're not kind of gaining or losing too much advantage. But you do need sometimes where the line of play is not what you want to do with Diviner over here. You actually might want to go for a little bit of a lockdown, and this with Dad as well is really, really strong. So yeah, I really like having this as a backup. It's also a card that you can side out as well if you need to. But I'm pretty happy with Diviner, to be honest. Not Diviner, with Vanity's Ruler. So going on to the spell and trap cards. So if we look at some of the Drytron cards. So here we have Fafnir and the ritual spell. You only need to summon play the one ritual spell currently, in my opinion. You play more of these if you think you're going to go up against anything that's going to really banish from your graveyard, or really kind of punish your graveyard in the fact that you can banish spells. So that's where you might want to play more than one. But because it's so searchable, it's totally fine to run 1. And then the Fafnir. The Fafnir is really strong. I'm kind of contemplating running 3, to be honest, just because searching out things like Nova is super strong and something that you really want to go into. Like one of the main plays that a lot of people do, or well, that I do, if I just grab them, is this is kind of like how free it is. You know, you've got your new 2 searches out the alpha searches out the Fafnir, and then the Fafnir searches out the Nova. So it's just straight away like big plays and cards that just gain you a massive amounts of advantage. So this lineup here is quite nice, and then on top of that, I'm playing 1 Secret Village of the Spellcasters. Now, if you don't know what this one does, basically it's if you control a spellcaster, your opponent can't activate spell cards. If you don't it's not even focusing. There we go. If you don't have a spellcaster, you can't activate any spell cards. Now, Drytrons, not inherently spellcasters. So I will show you in a little bit what we do with that. But it's quite consistent in the way that you can build that board. And then the 1 terraforming, just because you've got 3 targets. Kind of nice. Going on to some of the more generic spells that you would expect to see from a Drytron deck. 3 Cyber Emergency, you play it at max. Nova is absolutely cracked now with new 2. So opening up Nova on its own is disgusting. Drytrons have suffered from in the past not having any 1-card starters. This is a 1-card starter because historically you might Nova into one of your Drytron monsters, but doesn't do anything. You need to do something with it to then get it into the graveyard to then bring it back to activate its effect and start generating advantage. Nova with new 2 gets you instant advantage because you instantly search. So that's really, really, really strong. And yeah, I absolutely love it. I think Nova has just gotten so much better now as well. It was already good, but it's gotten so much better. Going on to some non-engine cards, we have 3 Forbidden Droplets. I know they're not the same rarity. I traded off my ultis a while ago for a really good trade. I didn't want to, but yeah, I need to get my ultis back, unfortunately, but that's fine. We'll just rock this. Droplets is super strong in this deck because you can just dump your Drytrons into the graveyard and then recur them back for free advantage. So Droplets is really good with just trying to break boards. If there's something in particular that you really are struggling against, you can just go, yeah, I actually don't want to deal with that. I'll just negate it and it's fine. So it's actually really strong. And you can activate in damage step, things like that, because it modulates attack, but is what it is. 2 Tactics. Now, Tactics I think is really strong in this format. I am considering if I want to run more, and also if I do want to run like things like Thrust, but currently, Thrust would be nice. I think I need to test that one a lot more. But it's getting a bit tight, let's say. There's 42 cards in this one. It does get a bit tight. And I think that the way that I have it now is fine. I think if I were to put in Thrust, I would probably have to cut this down to 1 and go down to more, let's say, focused build on what I want to play. Or for like the power spells. That would then open you up to play Crossout if you so wished as well, but it's just one of them. But I found 2 has been working really well, and it is just a really, really strong card because more often than not, I'm using that to rip a card out of my opponent's hand to stop them doing to give them less flexibility on what they need to do, or what they can do, sorry, because Drytron, just does give you lots of options, unless they activate Droll on you, and then it's kind of a bit sad. 1 Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion is here for the only target really, which is the Millennium Eyes Restrict. Millennium Eyes Restrict is really strong in this because, if you open up the Instant Fusion, you can just shotgun into Restrict, and then you're not really worried about many hand traps that your opponent might play. If they do try and activate that Droll, it's game over. You can carry on because you have that, and then you can use it as a level 1 for your Synchro or your XZ plays later on, or Link plays even. 1 Foolish Burial, super agile card in this deck. Typically you would normally just dump your Gamma. That's one of the main things you would normally dump. But this has a lot more utility now because if you don't hit your new 2 and you don't really have a way to get it, you can dump it there, then bring it back. You know, you can hit some of your other combo pieces that you haven't been able to get, your Nova or your Alpha, your Alpha or your Zeta, depending on what you're missing. It's a really, really strong card, and one that I don't think you should ever cut from it. The one called By the Grave, you know, just protect you from hand traps. That's just one of those things. And then the last card that I'm running that I'm testing out is Drytron Meteor Shower. Now, if you don't know what Drytron Meteor Shower does, good thing about this card is it is searchable, if it will focus. There we are. When your opponent normal or special summons a monster, while you control a ritual monster, negate the summon, and if you do shuffle that target into the deck, you can only activate one once per turn. If in a very realistic scenario that has happened quite a lot, if you open up the Nova, for example, and you go, well, okay, fine, I still need to do the Nova play. I'll go into Nu 2. Nu 2 will get the Alpha, or the Usatron, sorry. Usatron summons, gets me the Fafnir, and then the Fafnir is going to search me another Drytron card or spell or trap cards, and I'm like, so Nova is an option because you can use it for next turn, but if you play it right, you have enough resources typically in your grave that you're going to be able to recur things without too much issue. Having kind of almost a little, it's actually not little, it's kind of an important interruption card. Being able to spin a summon back into your opponent's deck in this day and age, I think is really strong, and it's searchable. So I think it gives you just some nice outs as well, some nice options, and one that I think people should pay attention to a lot more, because I think it is really, really strong. And you're always really going to have a ritual out, so I don't think that requirement for the summon, or for the activation, sorry, is too difficult to really hit. So going on to the extra deck, we have 2 Moi Beta. So there was thought that this might actually go to 3 in the extra deck, but I think the extra deck is so tight that I really think you have to keep it at 2. Unless people want to go down a different route with the extra deck. That's just one of those things. But 2 Moi Beta. Moi Beta is insane. The card is so good. And what I was referring to earlier with the new ritual card, this basically, Moi Beta is this. Summon this out for free. Well, it's not for free. But you typically, if you summon Alpha from the grave or from the hand, you will put Alpha underneath this. Nu 2, you will put it under this, because you don't want it to be banished. And obviously if it's under this and then used as a ritual summon, it's really strong. The other things that you can do is that when Nu 2 comes out with Nova, you put it underneath this, you then tribute the entire thing off to summon Dad, and then you bring back Nu 2 straight away again for some more advantage. So yeah, the type of advantage you generate in this deck is pretty nutty. But yeah, Fafnir is really good, and obviously its own Foolish Burial effect is nice. A lot of the time you'll just be sending off either the Dad to the graveyard, or a Gamma, or something, again, if you're in a real tight spot, another combat piece. Then we have the Zeus package. I think, yeah, Zeus is just strong. I should probably play Typhoon in here, but for now, this is fine. Yeah, it's just one of them. You play the Fuko because Fuko allows you, if you get shifted or something like that. It's not the end of the world, but it means that you do have a little bit of protection and something that just helps you in those tight spots. I think Fuko is pretty important. And the one requirement that you're going to be going into a lot for the Secret Village of the Spellcasters is 1 Slacker Magician. This is one of your main spellcasters that you're going to be summoning. Super simple. You're not going to struggle to go into it at all. 2 level 1s. I actually like Slacker Magician over everything else. Fun fact, this is the only print of it in Cosmo Blazer. This is the only print of Slacker Magician. Why was this not in like a rarity collection or something? But anyway. Slacker Magician. Its effect is once per turn, this card can't be destroyed by battle. During either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets this face-up card, you can detach your material from this, negate the activation if you do destroy it. So what this is doing is really protecting your Secret Village of the Spellcaster play. So it's guaranteeing that unless they do something crazy, because you'll have Dad up, unless they do something crazy, they're really going to be locked out of their spell cards, and they're not going to be able to get over it very easily. 2-1 defense is obviously very nice. There aren't really many normal summonable monsters or easily summonable monsters without effects that could ram over this, and even if they could, the card can't be destroyed by battle. So once per turn, so they need to kill it twice. Very, very rare that something like that would happen, in my opinion. So I really like this Lacquer Magician. I think it's stronger than going into something like the Relinquished. You know, I played this as well, which you'll see in a sec, but I think it's just stronger than leaving that up because, you know, it's 0 attack. So yeah, the Lacquer Magician's been working really well. Going into the Link lineup, we have Appaloosa. You know, you don't really go into Appaloosa all that much, but it's there if you need it. SP Little Knight and IP Masquerena. These you do go into. I'll just remove SP. We all know what SP does, but this is a match made in heaven. So what you will do, I referred to it earlier, that you will leave your board on like an IP Masquerena with Dad, and you know, other things. And what you will do is that when you've activated the multiple effects of Dad, you'll spin up with IP Masquerena, link them off. Summon the Dynamondo. Dynamondo's going to get a spin, so an interruption, and then straight away you'll tribute that off to bring back Dad, and then you have another 2 negates. So as I said, that's how you get your 4 negates with Dad in your, well, one turn, your opponent's turn, whichever you want to say. But these 2 are a match made in heaven. It's really nice. Kind of worried that this is going to get hit on the ban list, or Forbidden Limited list, I should say. But yeah, it's just one of those things. If that so happens, then here we are. And then finally, the Relinquished. Again, this is just if you can't get into level 2 level 1s and you want to really try and lock in your Secret Village of the Spellcaster. The other good thing as well is that if you do have this, you can back it up with the Meteor Shower. So if your opponent just thinks, well, I'm just going to normal summon something and attack over it, you can do that and then spin it back. Their normal summon's gone. And then they probably have to activate effects to summon some cards out, which you can do, which you can negate with Dad. So that's really strong. Your Entis and your Restrict, as I said, Entis is here for, well, the other 2 cards for the Diviner plays are these 2, Entis and then Arclight. Millennium Eyes Restrict, as I said, gives you a level 1 on board, but also means that you can block hand traps, which is quite strong. And then the last card, as I said, is the Ancient Fairy Dragon. Fun fact, I forgot this was in my binder and I was trying to look for a quarter century secret rare one, so that was kind of a nice little find. It's kind of embarrassing, I forgot, but never mind. Yeah, Ancient Fairy Dragon is here because you're going to be tributing your Fafnir off to get out the Secret Village of the Spellcasters and then net you an extra 1,000 attack. This has been really strong because your opening board, the only thing this does is search your ancient, your Secret Village of the Spellcasters. That's all it does. You don't need to leave it on board. You don't need to do anything. You can use it as link plays. That's what I'll often do. It's often fodder to go into the IP, but it is super strong and something that I think has worked really well. I do like it. There are some other options that you can do if you don't want to play the Secret Village of the Spellcaster and you still want to make use of Diviner. I really recommend FA Dawn Dragster. I think this card is super strong as well, helps with the spell and trap negation. It's not as strong as Secret Village of the Spellcaster because obviously it gives you a blanket no to your opponent, which we like doing. But yeah, I think this is a very strong option, especially if you want to back it up with the Magic Key engine too. Because, you know, the summoning the Magic Key is free, well, essentially free because it's only 1 Drytron. And this obviously is a counter trap, which is a lot stronger to negate a spell or trap. So in your opponent's turn, you have 2 spell or trap card negations. So that is strong, but currently I really do like just the Ancient Fairy and the Secret Village of the Spellcasters. One thing I do want to talk about just very quickly is Beta. Rastaben is a very strong card and something that should at least be on your side deck. You know, it just means that if your opponent goes into a Shifter first turn, well, not first turn, but if your opponent's playing Shifter, it means that you can just recur from your extra deck, from your banished pile a lot easier. And then the other cards, here it is, I haven't even got it in my thing. But this is one of the other brand new cards that I will just quickly talk about, is the Trap card. This is also helping you with Shifter because you can recur from your banished. If you don't know what it does, it's a continuous trap card that says if a Drytron's card is banished, except during damage step, you contribute 1 Drytron monster, then target up to 2 of your banished Drytron cards, add them to your hand. You can reveal 1 Medionis Drytron in your hand, ritual summon 1 ritual monster from your hand or graveyard by attributing machine monsters from your hand or field whose and then the usual stuff is attack equals blah, blah, blah. Second effect is fine, I guess, if you want to ritual summon in your opponent's turn. You know, if your dad gets kind of destroyed or cleared, and you will almost certainly, unless you go down the Magic Key route, you're only really ritual summoning once with Medionis Drytron in your turn, so you will have it in your hand because you'll recur it back. So having that as a potential backup is nice, especially if you can't do your Dynamundo play. But currently, I don't think it's found its way into the main deck just yet. I think this will probably be, again, a strong side card, depending on how your opponent wants to play against you. And it does give you that additional flexibility by being able to ritual summon, but I don't think that's the main reason you use it. I think the recursion is probably the main reason that you'll use it. So that is it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate everyone watching and sticking with it as a quite a long deck profile, but hopefully you did find it enjoyable and informative. If you would like to see some combo videos or some just kind of natural hand, kind of not generic, but yeah, natural, let's say, opening hands, I can do that. I think I'm probably going to do some more of those types of things on stream. It'll help me to get used to the decks. You know, as I said, I have been out of the game for quite a while. I haven't got like a sixth sense with some of these decks, especially Drytron's really heavy combo deck. And I think that it is something that does take a long time to get used to, but I feel quite happy with where it is. There might be some switching in and out of cards, you know, changing of some rare, some quantities and some power spells potentially, but I think I'm pretty happy with how it's running. Consistently puts up end boards of Dad with IP, and then also with Slacker Magician with your Secret Village of the Spellcaster. So it's a pretty painful block for your opponent, especially also with that spin from Drytron Meteor Shower as an additional form of removal. Really, really strong deck. Going second, I still think it's very, very strong because it means that you're playing against your opponent, what they've got on the board. There's lots of options that you have. So I think it's a really strong deck still. One that might catch a lot of people off guard. So I really recommend people picking it up if you did enjoy Drytron back in the day. Or you just like rituals. So thank you very much, guys. Very much appreciate it. Hope you did enjoy the video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think down in the deck and comment section below. And I shall catch you guys later.